Right.
Sir, HR Mohan sir, just to inform you that Hiren Shah sir is trying to add, but he is displaying as Hiren's note taker.
No, don't. That's what it is, an AI assistant.
Kiran is invitation is gone.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Note taker, na, it is a AI assistant, sir.
Yeah, not take Kiran.
Adu venda. So when he comes, okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Linesh.
Good evening, HR Mohan, sir.
Good evening.
Extremely active and busy, sir.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm so happy.
I think we missed you at the dry run. So I think you were tied up, yet.
Yeah, I was tied up with another event, sir.
Okay, I know that. Same time there was some HCC event was there. I know that.
Absolutely, sir.
Good evening, Maithili. Ma'am.
Good evening, ma.
Sir, recording start பண்ணிடலாமா sir? ஆரம்பிச்சலாமா? No, 2 minutes இருக்கு.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Ma'am?
I have initiated recording.
Yeah, you can start, ma'am.
Yeah, I have initiated recording, ma'am. Once you start, recording is started, I will just start it.
Okay.
Good evening to one and all present here. I welcome you all for this webinar. I now request Mr. Linesh SanatKumar sir, President HCC, to welcome the gathering.
Yeah. Good evening. I have great pleasure in welcoming the speaker for today's webinar, Mr. S. Vaithialingam, sir, Technology Head, Generative AI Solutions and Delivery, TCS. I'm glad to welcome Mr. H.R. Mohan, Chairman, and Hiren B. Shah, Co-Chairman, Information Technology Committee of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. I heartily welcome the Executive Committee members of IEEE Chennai, ACM Chennai, and Computer Society of India, particularly Dr. Komathy, Chair CSI Chennai, and Dr. P. Sakthivel, Chair ACM and IEEE Chennai. And all the members of HCC, IEEE, and CSI and other participants who have joined this webinar today. We have gathered here to understand scaling generative AI from proof of concept to production. While we'll go on with the topic very soon, I thought I will just share a few words about the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, which is a 78-year-old chamber with around 1,000 members from various segments of trade and industry, out of which majority are from the manufacturing sector, MSME, and we also have professionals in our member base. We have been conducting various programs for the benefit of our members and business community at large. I must place on record and acknowledge the fact that the IT committee under the chairmanship of H.M. Mohanji has been most active this year. Thank you, Mohanji. Just for your information, we also have a startup membership program, and we have a tie-up with IIT Kharagpur and VIT Incubation Cell, and we will be soon getting into an understanding with the IIT Madras Incubation Cell. We at HCC are proposing to mentor and opening up a marketplace within the companies who are members of the HCC for the startups. So anybody interested in those lines may please contact the HCC Secretariat. And I just got to know there are a lot of students who are participants for this program. And our chamber is more than happy if anybody comes up with an innovative idea, any proposal in mind, and if they want any kind of support in terms of even financial, I think we should have enough and more people with the bandwidth to support them. Once again, I welcome Mr. Vaithialingam sir and all the participants for today's program. Thank you, and I hand over the proceedings to the moderator.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I request Mr. H.R. Mohan, sir, Chair, Events, IEEE CS, Madras, to introduce the speaker.
Greetings and good evening to one and all. On behalf of the organizing units, IEEE Computer Society, CSI, ACM, and Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, I once again extend a warm welcome to our eminent speaker, Mr. Vaithialingam, members and my colleagues from the organizing units, and the participants who have joined the Google Meet, and those watching the YouTube streaming of today's presentation, Scaling Generative AI from Proof of Concept to Production. With the advent of big data, machine learning, and deep learning, AI has become prominent in the recent years, and the climax came in November 2022 with the launch of ChatGPT, the most popular generative AI product, which was projected to increase the productivity at least by 10 times in many areas, including the enterprises, while hugely successful and popular with the individuals in content creation. Generative AI has been in existence for enterprise and consumers for almost 2 years now. All of us are aware that it started with the launch of the ChatGPT, followed by foundational models from other hyperscalers, products or companies like Google, Amazon Web Services, Meta, Anthropic, Mistral, and many others joining the bandwagon. Many organizations had the curiosity to experiment with Gen AI and its capability, benefits, and in general, what Gen AI means to the organization. Of course, we all know that Gen AI can create an impact on the business growth, enhance customer experience, gain productivity. Given the novel technology and limitations owing to hallucination, data security, regulatory governance, etc., the recommended approach had always been to explore Gen AI with a proof of concept, acclimatize with the smaller group, and then proceed with the production deployment for a larger audience. However, many of the proof of concepts continue to remain as proof of concept, with only few organizations managing to deploy the solutions to production due to reasons such as unclear financial benefits, fitment issues within the overall technology landscape of the enterprise, insufficient knowledge of users and Gen AI capability, inadequate data quality and insufficiency, regulatory and legal challenges, and security. With the above linger amongst the CXOs, the innovations around Gen AI continue to grow exponentially. Product companies continue to launch or upgrade large language models with new capabilities. Many companies are building their small language models like Gemma, Pi3, etc. So, how organizations should go about embracing innovations to realize the benefits? What is the AI strategy? the companies how to lay out to scale the GenAI solution from proof of concept to production. So in this session, the speaker will share this perspective based on his industry experiences and dialogues with the customers globally for the successful adoption of generative AI. So with this brief note on the topic of today's presentation, let me have the pleasure of formally introducing Mr. Vaithialingam, who has been with the Tata Consultancy Services for over 25 years and leading diverse large transformation programs primarily in banking, finance, and insurance sector and other industry verticals such as airlines, retail, and telecom. With the virtue of working with customers globally in US, UK, in Asia Pacific, and Japan, Mr. Vaidilingam had honed the art of leading teams from diverse culture, languages, and origins of different nations. In 2021, Mr. Vaidilingam transitioned to become a technology leader in Google Cloud. He was engaged in providing GCP solutions to customers and was instrumental in signing up new opportunities in North America. Subsequently, when generative AI was scheduled, he took the responsibility of providing GenAI solutions and delivering them to customers globally. In his current role, he has provided consultancy to customers across the industries and leveraging GenAI with a wide range of GenAI use cases about their needs and benefits. Mr. Vaidilingam is a keynote speaker and has participated in many panel discussions at technology events and data and AI organized by ETCIO Forum, Enterprise CIO Summit, and conferences hosted by Analytics India magazine. He is also a certified mentor at Tata Consulting Services and assists enthusiastic professionals in their career development. Mr. Vaidilingam did his Bachelor in Engineering from NIT Silchar and a Senior Executive Leadership Program from INSEAD of France on General Management, including core functions in organizational design, strategy, marketing, merger and acquisition, negotiation, and corporate finance. He aspires to continue enabling organizations to transform businesses through meaningful technology initiatives and achieve business value and growth. So with this brief note and the introduction to the speaker, now let me request Mr. Vaidilingam to take over and enlighten our participants on the topic scaling Gen AI from POC to production. Over to Mr. Vaidilingam, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohan. That's a very broad introductions. In fact, you summarized to a greater extent in terms of what is that probably I might be speaking for the next 45 minutes in a very concise fashion. Every word what you spelled out is very important. Actually, I'll double click on most of the items what you spoke about in my speech. My sincere thanks, for the CSI Chennai, IEEE, and the whole teams in terms of giving this wonderful opportunity to speak over here. With whatever things like this whole of the concept generative AI has been still continues to be evolving. I've been fortunate to be part of this particular journey for the last close to 2 years. Ever since the ChatGPT was launched, and over here I'll share my experience. Some parts of my speech will be something the experience of what I have undergone, and few of the things what we have picked up from the public journals and the market analyst reports. Okay, with that I'll jump onto this topic. Thank you very much, Mohan and team. Okay, let me share my screen. Let me know in case if it's visible. A second. Okay. Is my slide visible?
Yes, screen is here.
Okay. Yep. So the
No, it's a YouTube. This one is it?
so it's YouTube.
Window is YouTube window, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, YouTube video. Yeah.
You have to go to the PowerPoint window.
Okay.
We are seeing YouTube video.
Okay. You able to see my PowerPoint now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah, correct.
Fine.
All right. Thank you.
You can just do that stop edit sharing right at the bottom. Hide. Sorry. It is hide, not stop
Right, right.
sharing.
Okay.
Again, you have to share.
Yeah. Okay. It looks good.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Very good evening for everyone who has joined this webinar and the people who are watching through the YouTube on this session. Okay. The topic what we have today is the how how we can take these generative AI initiatives. Predominantly, a lot of POCs has been happening. How we can take those POCs, not just stopping by within the POC, but then how we can take them into productions. That's one of the core topic, what we want to talk about today. I guess I don't need an introduction because I think Mr. Mohan talked about me sufficiently. Here are the set of items what we'll be covering today, right? First, we'll start with in terms of general view on how GenAI has been revolutionizing the the economy and the community. And what are the different steps in terms of conceptualizing the from use case until the point in terms of turning into a production based solution. And then what are challenges, why customers or the industries are not able to take up these solutions done as a POC but then not able to materialize to production based solution, right? And what are our proposed approach in terms of mitigation them? What kind of counter measures we can put in place? Therefore, the solutions, the POCs, whatever we have done it, okay, that can be definitely put into productions. And with all this, then we'll talk about in terms of what are the key tenets for a successful GenAI adoption. This primarily for the CXOs, when they really wanted to, percolate, penetrate this GenAI adoptions within their own organizations. So with that, we'll talk about the overalls, the content of, on the topic scaling this generative AI from POCs to productions. In the end, I want to touch upon two items. One is the, TCS have a flagship product, this Wisdom AI Next platform, which is a GenAI platform what TCS built. It's a platform model agnostic, that I'll be able to, do a live video of that particular one. And then the next steps in terms of, how the industry experts have to take this, the GenAI solutions to productions. Okay, these are the largest set of topics of what we want to cover it today. Okay, so what leaders, let's talk about the few general aspects of how generative AI is being viewed among the industry leaders. Okay, here are some of the excerpts what we have picked up from the industry leaders. I guess looking at the pictures, then I don't have to spell out the name. I think, Sam Altman, I think he's the first person, probably we say like, he is the CEO of OpenAI, and he has launched this ChatGPT November in the month November 2022, right? So, primarily it started with, ChatGPT, and after that followed by Google. Google leveraged their own Form 2 models. And then today we talk about Google had their, Gemini models. And then Microsoft and OpenAI has been closely collaborating it with them. And then, pretty much, they go hand in hand. And then the right hand side, we see some of the industry leaders of India, right from Nandan Nilekani and then Chandrasekhar in terms of sharing their views in terms of how this GenAI. Okay. So largely what we see is like, this, to summarize the various perspectives. One is the society and technology have to evolve together, right? Society and technology have to evolve together. And there should be common feedback of human in loop has to happen. Therefore, the models that's being continuously being monitored to get the right output. Okay, so the definitely element of a human loop is really required to get the right element of output for the models to perform, to give the right benefits. And there's another perspective coming from Google, where we say that there is a close to 25% of the efforts what is currently incurred within Google is being done by the AI-related works. There are specific models. We have it. Google has the Gemini Code Assist or ChatGPT. Microsoft, they talk about Microsoft Copilot. They really aid in terms of aiding the overall software development lifecycle, right from the case of developing the code, right, in generating test cases. Those parts of this what they're talking about. They're talking about close to 25% of the efforts can be saved through AI. And another perspective what you want to bring in is there are definitely going to be certain unpleasant eventualities what we might face with the advent of Gen AI. But it's not that because of this, unpleasant, outcomes is something that we should stop. Rather, we should put some right mitigation measures in place. Therefore, we are able to leverage the benefits. So it's not that putting ourselves in the back foot and then letting things to happen. Rather, work along with these models. Look and see what are the counterproductive measures output is coming up, and then what other measures we can put in place. Therefore, we continue to raise the benefits. See, these are the large set of perspectives coming from the industries. But finally, one point is this whole of the generative AI is something that should be properly governed. It has a very extensive potential in terms of improving the productivity of the of various aspects, right from the product development or improving the customer satisfactions or improving the revenue growth. But it always matters in terms of how we are going to govern this overall life cycle, be it from the data and the security aspects. Therefore, it does not yield any yield any bad ramifications. That's the one concluding statement coming from the UN Secretary General. So this just to give a perspective of what top industry leaders are thinking about on generative AI. And here are the set of use cases. So I put in some of the common use cases what is being dealt on this generative AI, because I found a wide range of audience are there. Quite a lot of students are also attending these sessions, and there are few industry experts, directors are also joining these discussions. So I put down a framework in terms of what are the common generative use cases are currently being adopted or being attempted by the industries in terms of venturing into this Gen AI journey. The first one is a Q&A based search. So primarily, this talks about you have for example, I probably will quote with an example. Like you might have signed up a lot of documents, or classic example could be an insurance policy. You might have taken an insurance policy, and there could be a lot of terms and conditions could be there. And if there is a specific incident has happened that you really want to know, this specific hospitalization claim is something I'm eligible, right? For example, even go for hospitalizations, there could be a different set of facilities you can acquire. You want to take a private bed, or you want to take a double bed, all these things are there, right? If all those things would have been documented as part of this policy, insurance policy, health insurance policy, what you might have undertaken, and definitely most of you have not gone through those details at the time of signing the document. But this, and even you really want to know before you even apply for a claim, or before for any hospitalization claim, you really want to know whether this particular one am eligible or not. And that's exactly where this Q&A search can be in, where you can feed in this whole of this policy document, which might be 50 pages or 70 pages, something would have been there, and then you'll be able to get this information through a natural chat. The next one is on the summarizations. Is a classic example would be like you probably have reports. In fact, a really good example I would quote is a couple of days back, Mr. Mohan shared me a Gen AI report from Capgemini that has close to 150 pages. So it's always going to be difficult for to go through it, all the 150 pages. But the quick way of summarizing, getting the insights of what those what this 150 page content is a classic example of the second use case, where you can fit in all these 150 pages, be it in the form of PDFs, or it can be the scanned copies, or a Word document. You'll be able to fit in through it, and then you're able to get the summarized versions. But you want to get this whole of summary in 2 pages or 1 page, or probably you want to go by chapter wise. That's something the capability of what Gen AI can do here. Content generation and content transformations. A very good classic example could be there for the students or for the professors or the directors. For example, you want to develop a thesis. There are a lot of informations, insights you might have gathered through your through your project works, and you want to develop a report out of it, right? So what we can do is you feed in all this information out of it, put down the list of the topics. Okay, top 10 topics. This is what I want to cover in my thesis report. You go back and feed in all this information, and then click the submit, and then you'll be able to generate a report in a concise form. All right. Virtual agent is something more towards the how it really aids in the customer engagement process. Many of us would have encountered called up the IVR or the call center person at some point in their life, be it for something phone banking to clarify some parts of questions, or any phone mobile clarifications, or probably Amazon you might have interacted, you might have called up the help desk support. Okay, this is a very very the service where GenAI in terms of providing some self-help to solve some of the frequently asked questions. But then, in case your questions not being clarified, then I think aiding your conversations back from the chat to the specific human agent able to attend the call, and then able to give this overall support clarifying the customer questions. So virtual agent something is a very classic example where GenAI can play a role here. And code generations I talked about in my earlier slide. There are quite a lot of efforts, software development efforts can be reduced by close to, there's a different metrics, other people say how much it can be productive, but definitely it aid in terms of you want to develop a new applications, you want to generate code components, then that's something definitely at the click of prompt, natural language will be able to generate a piece of code. And also you have a case where you want to generate the test cases to test this application, what you've been developed, then definitely can aid in terms of test applications. You want to migrate the applications from your on-premise back to the cloud, or many other activities, what are we talking about? All these parts of it, GenAI can aid in terms of developing those components. Okay, right? While having said that, all of these cases, definitely, it's not that the outcome, what we reserve is something directly taken and then consume it. Human in loop is very, very imperative when it comes to generative AI. So the output, what we have, it has to be evaluated and then take it for consumptions. So this is just to give a broad view in terms of, a broader view in terms of where are the places, GenAI can be applied. So this is more of a view to give a top companies, organizations who has this, models are widely pervasive. Pretty much, I think we all know OpenAI ChatGPT has been the pioneer. They are the first to launch the ChatGPT. To all of us. In fact, the advent of generative AI, ChatGPT has come, and then it gave the real identity of the whole of the AI itself. AI being artificial intelligence had been there for decades, but it has been used on and off. It was already at the back, the back seat, but the generative has come into play, and then it brought in this whole of even the classical traditional model also is. It became more prominent, and today everyone talking about AI and Gen AI, and then followed by we have Microsoft there, and then we have Google Gemini models. I think Google Gemini models are there. I hope many of you might be using Gemini models or Chat GPTs. There are other players also there. We have Anthropic. They have the cloud models. That's something there which does many of the functions. Llama is there by Meta, by Facebook. And then these are the other two companies. What I've really seen is the Synthesis and Guide. Primarily, they aid in terms of videos preparations, and also some of the training methods to prepare this guide has been getting used. Okay, these are the most of the things the companies what we have from outside India. But I think there's another company called Servam.ai. This is primarily been a company in India. They have developed the small language models that really aids in some of the customer engagement activities, right? And it aids in translating, picking up the conversation, some of the Indian languages, right? English, Tamil, and Hindi. Some are close to 8 to 9 languages. I think they have it. Okay, right? It's able to pick up all the local languages and able to give the response, in a very precisely to the questions what the user is asking. So that's something is becoming very popular. So here's the one part in terms of how the market is looking at, right? So this is a report, something what we see from the McKinsey, what we see in the right-hand side. The way we read the report is, second. Yep. This part of this verticals is talks about in terms of different industries, in terms of the revenue projections, what they see as part of the the generative AI. Like largely, if you see it here, high tech and banking, have the larger pie on the on the projections what they have on the generative AI. And in terms of horizontal different business functions, talk about marketing and sales looks to have the greater consistently have the greater penetration across all of the industries. We see it followed by the customer operations. This just to give you view in terms of like how the marketing, how the different industries are looking at adopting the generative AI, and what are the different business functions within the industries, and then where we have more penetrations. As per the McKinsey, it looks to be 4.4 trillion is the economy what the generative AI can yield to the economy. That's something coming from the McKinsey. And few other things coming from the Gartner is, down today, we are talking about many of the models, what we see are industry agnostic. Not necessarily there are quite a few models industry, but more of them are kind of common models are there, I think, where we are trying to apply across all areas. But by 2027, what the forecast is 50% of the models, what will be there, what we might be using it, will be more industry specific. What it means is, for example, there could be a specific set of models will be developed for life science and healthcare, maybe for clinical trial analysis, or maybe for medical drug discoveries. Right, there'll be specific set of models will be developed for each industries. Manufacturing, you want to go for high precision manufacturing equipments development. How we really want to go with designs. So there's going to be set of models going to be there for the industry specific. Therefore, the precision of the outcome will be more accurate than what it is today. Then we're talking about customers. 75% of the business will be leveraging the generating synthetic customer data. What it means is primarily, today there are a lot of restrictions in terms of how the AI and Gen AI can leverage the customer data. Okay, because a lot of restrictions are there. The privacy, all things has to be taken into considerations. So definitely for a lot of the innovations, be it in the field of medical science, be it in the field of retail side, you want to develop a new products and services, right? There are a lot of data. Something has to be analyzed to understand the real customer patterns, right? For those understand customer patterns, the models have to fed in large amount of data. In fact, we talk about ChatGPT, all the things. These models have been trained with billions of data, right? The lot of data from the Wikipedia, social media platform, wherever what have been a lot of information has been fed into the models, and that's where being trained, and it's able to give the output. So data is something is going to be really, really important for the generative function well. And here is where some of the information for customers information that cannot be directly utilized. Then here is an avenue where leveraging Gen AI models, you go ahead in terms of generating synthetic data. Therefore, the dependency on taking the real-time customer data is really absolutely not required. Third one talks about in terms of energy consuming models, computational models, methods. Today we talk about, I think all this generative AI talk about, I think is being the lots of energies, the hardware is being consumed, the GPUs, TPUs has been consumed, lots of high energy been consumed, a lot of potential carbon emissions also could be there. Going forward, really looking at by 28, I think they're really looking at 30% of this energy consumption can be absolutely reduced, but still there the output is not compromised. Probably quantum computing could be one of the case, and similar other innovations might come into play. Therefore, the energy can be consumed. So just to give a view in terms of perspective of what is what industry leaders are talking about generative AI, and we talked about the art of possible we can do Gen AI use case, and then what are the future market foresights looking at on the generative AI. With this, I'll move on to the next topic. What we plan for the day is the life cycle of the generative AI. How the use case is getting conceptualized, and then till the point in it's getting deployed to production. All right. So if you look at, I largely would divide this into two parts. One is planning, experimental stabilization will be one part of it, and then expansion to leadership is another part of it. Right. So more or less, the concept, the initially the use case is conceptualized at the bit of really thought process being done among the IT and the business teams to really see what kind of really use case they really want to venture into POCs, right? Whether who are the consumers going to be, they need to understand who is going to consume that respective output, what kind of data we have it, whether they have right set of data we have, whether that can give the right set of output, and what models are the wide set of models really available, right? Which really models really want to pick it up, right? These are the things what is being formulated, and then they have been picked up as more of a POCs, right? So more from the planning till experimental stabilize, more of us we do a POCs, have the being done with a smaller set of audience, really see that output what is being generated is really not hallucinating, is able to give the right set of output, and then whether it's in a state that we can take it to productions. So that's the point where I think under stabilization is where the business users are really comfortable. Yes, the output what we have it, I think, is something we can take to the next steps. And next steps is where how we can scale this to larger organizations, right? Many organizations have numerous set of employees, and then thousands of customers they could have, right? So really, when we're talking about doing a small POCs with a limited set of users, then we want to really take it to a large set of users, to a larger part of the organization who could be in lakhs or so. Then we need to really look at whether we have the right infrastructure in place, right? How many people are planning to access it? What are the concurrent number of users? So definitely it's going to be infrastructure components going to be involved, where the scaling component of the underlying technologies and the infrastructure components has to be analyzed. Then it comes out the operations, because the data what we have used may not be always the accurate. They cannot be static. For example, you build an application today, maybe 6 months down the line, there are a lot of other things would have changed. You might have launched a new set of products. The new set of feedbacks would have got from the consumer side, right? There's going to be continuous drift could be there in terms of the data, what is going to be fed to the model. So there's going to be a ML ops, the LLM ops going to be there. So how the incremental change of data that can fed into the model so that the output can be fine-tuned. And then the subsequent part is going to be the active learning and the prompt management, so that, the outputs, what you're going to get is fine-tuned to factor to the new set of data, what is being fed to the models, right? So that's a part of it to be really taken into considerations, be it from the infrastructure point of view. Secondly, in terms of how you are going to manage it, in terms of the incremental changes in the data is going to be happen, and then how the model is going to behave against new sets of data. So that's a part of it has to be considered when really how to scale from, go from POC state to the productions. So largely putting it together is where I think, the companies, the organization have to look at, steps really required in terms of taking the solutions from the POCs, to the predictions. As per the predictions are things coming from the Gartner, what they really see that is for a POCs from the state of, for the use case to be conceptualized to the states getting production, it's approximately, they anticipate close to 7.2 months is the timeline they're really looking at, right from reaching to stabilization stage and to then, deploying solutions to the larger community into production. Having said that, as we talked earlier, right, at the core part of the topic, many organizations are venturing into the POCs, but very few are actually deploying solutions of productions. If you look at the bottom, this is a prediction from the statement from the World Economic Forum. What they say is by 2026, 80% of the organizations will have employed GenAI in some capacity, right? But only 16% they will be able to do it successfully. Which means that I think there's a fundamental challenge in terms of the problem statement, where many of the companies, they are doing POCs, but I think, but what we see is they're not able to put the solutions into productions. And in our experience and some of the studies, what we have done is these are top 5 challenges we see it. One is the identification of the right use case. right? Whether the right use case, what you picked is right, whether it's the right set of investment, return on investment is going to be there. That's point one. Second is the data dependency we talked about sufficiently. Third is going to be the data security and privacy, ensuring that there's no leakage or the data what is being used is not deviating any of the regulatory and guidelines. Integration with this overall systems, how this solution can reside within this overall ecosystems of the enterprise, and then the organization change management. Here are the five key challenges. What we see. I will double click on each of the items in the subsequent slides. So the first one is the use case. How we are going to pick up the use cases. So the use cases, whatever we pick for for GenAI POC is something should really address or the target business object should be either of at least to target into one of the objective we listed here. One is business growth, whether the use case we have picked up is able to trigger any additional revenue to the company or the organizations. A good example could be like, based on the customer experience, you want to go back and fine tune the set of products and services, right? For example, it's probably, the festive season, Deepavali happened, right? So that's point in time, probably like some of the trends of, traditional dresses, something what probably the retailers, the outlets, they'll be able to have more predictions and therefore they're able to get more sales out of it, right? That's something on the business growth. Second, probably is a case where it really aids in terms of improving the efficiency of the employees, right? Improving the productivity of the people what they're working today. A classic example could be like, for example, like, the example what I picked up the customer service, or probably like, and for the marketing assistant as part of organizations, right? A lot of marketing content has to be developed. For the campaign, like you go on the issue pamphlets or like, designing, launching new campaigns in the social media, be it, take it to Meta, Facebook, or, or the Instagram, anything. You want to launch new campaign. You want to design new set of images. You want to get a new set of captions. What do you want to put against your product? What are you going to sell, right? So how to really, instead of many organizations, what they do is they outsource this piece of work to a different vendor who does this, all this, the UI, images, creations, everything, and give it back to the company, and then they go back and launch the campaign. And here is a case where, with the order of generative models, it can aid to develop the images. You can generate this captions, everything, impressive captions, that's something you can generate, and then quickly able to launch it. Therefore, the cycle, one is it's improve the productivity of the people of the marketing department, and secondly, it's offset the cost, what additionally the company would have expended in terms of hiring the external agency. Third one is the customer engagement, what we talked about it. For example, the whole of this customer, the help desk, the contact center, the service, right? How we are going to engage the customers from the initial set of questions, what they might have through the self-help, right from to the state of like, satisfying his, resolving his query through the human desk, and then capturing his whole of the overall sentiment analysis. All these things can be done achieved through this. Whether the solution, what we are trying to use case, what we're trying to pick it up, able to solve this kind of problem, or recommending a new set of products. For example, you might have purchased a set of products in Amazon or Flipkart, right? The moment next time you go back and log in, based on the purchase history of a customer, whether the AI can be used in terms of you purchase this set of products, do you really want to look at these sort of additional set of products which might be of suitable to you, right? So these are the additional set of innovations can be done through GenAI. So largely what we're talking about is the use case, what we pick it up should have right set of investment, and which eventually comes if you're going to address through one of the three areas what I mentioned about here. And here is an approach in terms of how really you want to pick up the use cases. Like, the x-axis talks about in terms of the complexity of the use case, what we really want to pick it up. And then the y-axis talks about business impact, largely based on the efforts, the complexity of the use case, the skills availability, the data availability, the amount of cost, what the organization might have to incur, right? Based on that, you really want to pick up the specific use cases. Right, so that's pretty much talks about in terms of the first challenge on picking the right use cases. something you want to take it for, from POCs to production. The second things what I want to talk about is the data dependency. The way we are talking about, AI, Gen A here, data is something is of play a very vital role for the AI Gen A to really work well, because the model asset has been trained with the data what is there in the social media. But essentially, when it means to an organization, you're going to the ground that LLMs models with the information what is there in the within the organizations, which means that the data we should have sufficient amount of data, we should have the qualitative data for the model to consume, and then able to give the right set of output. Some of the typical challenges what we've seen in the industry are, and one is the data sprawl. What it means is the data has been spread across, multiple areas. Okay, right? We are talking about information technology for many decades, right? Even if I pick up for last 50 years, the legacy systems we talked about, the data, people had been using this mainframe systems. The data has been residing in DB2 or some other kind of databases. Then we have the desktop-based systems, VB-based applications where the data reside in individual desktops. Then we talked about the client-server technologies, right? Then we are talking about cloud adoptions, and then we are trying to have the data in the cloud. So the data has been growing, organically, over a period of time, and also the systems also have been changing it over a period of, over the decades, right? Does not mean that all the data has been in the old systems, legacies have been completely migrated to the when they are into the latest technologies now, right? A lot of data still residing in different parts of the old technologies. Plus, there are where there are merger and acquisition happens, right? You go when one company goes back and acquire another company, right? And then their companies, they have different sort of applications. So a lot of complexity associated where the data are reside in different pockets, which is exactly what is called as a data sprawl. The next one is data. Some data, what if they have been corrupted? There's some bit of malicious attacks has been there. Some data, some parts of the data elements are getting missed, or some parts of the data is being maliciously made wrong. Therefore the underlying data is incorrect, and then the models when they're going to consume it's going to eventually going to give the wrong result. Third is going to be the unclean data. Because of the advent of talking about from legacy systems to modern and technologies, how the data has been stored in all the different sort of storages, right? Be structured and unstructured data, right? So talking about this, the duplicate could be there. Some of the critical elements to have the to manage the integrity of the data. Those are the items something has been missing right now, which all of these things puts in fundamental challenges for the AI Gen A to consume those data, right? So it's very important for the organizations to make sure the data is clean, right? First of all, they should identify what is the data I really wanted for the for the models to consume it. It's certainly going to be very difficult, Herculean task, to bring in all the data and then put in a central repository. No. Rather, I think they should identify what type of data really wanted, what are the use cases I want. For the use cases I'm trying to put in, what sets of data we need, from where we need to pick it, take those sets of data, process it, and then bring it in a fashion. Therefore, we have one repository of information where all the data is consolidated and secured, and it's cleaned for the model able to consume and then able to deliver this particular output. So data is something going to be very important task to ensure that the quality data is going to be available for the models. And in fact, what we also see that is with the models being more capable, a lot of new models are coming up, existing old models getting upgraded. A lot of some parts of the activities, generative AI itself can aid in terms of doing some parts of the works. For example, largely data in the data set we talk about, we have data in the form of structured and unstructured data. Structured is more of relation tables and columns. Unstructured data is where I think we have the images, videos, documents, all these things come into play, right? In fact, Gen A is even more powerful in terms of managing this unstructured data. right? Because it's able to synthesize information and able to give a very qualitative output. And here are some of the activities where GenAI itself can aid in terms of, cleaning up, improving the, can aid in terms of resolving some of these challenges. For example, creation of metadata, because metadata is going to be important, for the LLM's consumer. For example, talk about an, RDBMS, right? You might have a column called ID, right? So the ID could be called as whether it could be customer ID, it could be employee ID, it could be organization ID. But GenAI would not be able to understand just looking at the data, but rather you need to know which ID they're talking about. So the metadata is going to be really important for the models to really know, which ID, when you're going to ask a question in natural language, they should be able to know, pick on the right columns. Okay. So creation of metadata labels, something GenAI can aid. And creating this data lineage informations right from the governance of what point of how the data originated, and then till the point how it's been considered the entire lineage part of it, and then cleansing the data, right? One is making some generating some code to fix the data, at a single shot, or it can aid in terms of generating synthetic data for the on a larger scale for the models to consume. Augmenting that data quality, it's more about, there are duplicate records could be there, and the lack of data integrity, something missing, some of the critical column missing, so correction of this data quality, and then managing the compliance and the anonymizing the data. This more talks about more from the regulatory perspective, where we are really talking about, the data, we are going to key in does not have any kind of PA related information, so that they're being masked before it's been consumed by the models. So here are the set of activities where we can really apply GenAI in terms of, simplifying some of the, building the data pipeline related activities. So what the industry look at it is 80% of the CDOs believe that, the data and the AI activities, will become blurred at some point in time. So we move on to the next item. So security and risks. This is a very important topic, especially when you talk about AI, GenAI. So largely, I picked up the top 5 risk items. The first one is this on the hallucination part of it. Hallucinations primarily where we are asking for a specific question, the LLM at times is not able to get the right set of output. There could be kind of some biases could be there, gender bias or anything could be there, or the output is not really grounded to the the input and the organism specific data. It could pick up some of the generic information, what the information might have picked up from the internet. There's a bit of hallucinations, what we talk about it. The way we can go about counter it is primarily, qualifying, the output of validating the correctness of the output, what the models is able to give it. In fact, today's situation, there are various other models are available, right, which can really take the ground truth and able to qualify the output delivered by the LLM is really correct or not by doing some confidence scoring. And also there's something in the citations, right? So for example, you ask for specific questions, you feed in a policy document, and then you, based on the response, you also want to know from which part of the page where the information has been picked up. That level of citation also can be put, can be framed in the output that we are able to gather. So by this way, we'll be able to mitigate this particular hallucination. Deepfakes is one of the greater problems what we're facing today, which means that primarily the content is being masked by in terms of the person, human face, or the videos being created, or the images, voice being recorded by a different persona, and then there are a bit of fraudulent things are happening through the deepfakes. So more the mitigation here is fundamentally giving a proper awareness, as the bid within the employee, within the organizations, or to the public crowd is very important. There is a constant awareness being there in terms of very cautious in terms of handling this kind of deepfakes. And there are specific ways, approaches are there where you can go ahead and do the metadata analysis or biometric analysis through which you can mitigate this kind of deepfake related incidents. Third one is more on the data privacy. How we really ensuring that the data is not being is able to comply, the generative solution what we're going to bring and able to comply to the various the data compliances what you might have, security and data privacy. There are various regulations are there, like for example in the European side we have the GDPR, we have HIPAA, something there specifically for the health related regulatory is being managed especially for the US based company, US region. The HIPAA is there. In India, we talk about the Data Protection Act, DPDP Act is there, So some of these compliances have to be, we have to ensure that the solution what we going to implement have guardrails in place. For example, if there are any PA data, personal information by the name or the contact number, some of the critical information, credit card number, some of the information has to be redacted, has to be masked before you feeding this information to the models. Then we talk about this copyright issues because essentially when the output comes in, the ownership comes into play. Like who is the owner of the content? You're trying to build up a thesis. Then the question is someone should not claim the IPR intellectual property rights issue, right? So we really need to know to ensure that the output what we are what is being big in the LLM is actually secured, and then in the future no one is ready to sue against a particular consumer that this output belongs to someone else. So the way of mitigation is what we've seen is some of the companies, what we say, they really, as they give the output from the models, they claim that the model, so the output is actually they don't want it, and what of the output is really been by the consumers. So, and for example, Google is able to give that level of confidence, that they need not be worried about this IP and intellectual property related rights for the output they're going to get from the going to be from the model, right? And in the case of images being generated, there is a digital watermarking going to be there, so the level of authentication is going to be there. These are some of the verifications what you really can ensure, right? Before you really choose the model that you really want to put into your GenAI based solutions. The last one is something is on the social engine, the cybersecurity side. I think cybersecurity has been very much prevalent, and there's a lot of social engine attacks, phishing attacks. I think prompt injections, basically like the questions what you might ask, it can be intervened, and then different sort of questions can be interjected to the LLMs, and then you may get a very harmful set of outputs. So that level of potential issues could be caused through cybersecurity, and the mitigation of what we see here is having the right, first of all, ensure that the prompts what you're going to put in is very precise, able to ask specific questions, and you're able to get the output confined with the set of inputs what is being fed to the models. And a lot of models are coming with the security attributes, enable all these security attributes so that the content what is being generated, it does not impact, is not harmful for the consumers. And third thing is more on the infrastructure security, the firewall security layers. I think there are many security and guardrails can be implemented at the infrastructure level, infrastructure side. Therefore, overall, we are able to secure this application, GenAI application, what we build is more safe and secure. So this is something on the top 5 items what we picked up, but definitely each of the items can be delved very deep into the topic. But here I just want to give a gist of what are the critical things what you really have to take into considerations when you're building the GenAI based solutions. The last one is the fourth one, what is going to be more on the change management, because this is very important. Any new innovations, what you want to bring it, take it to the organizations, it's very important that under the employees within the organization or the consumers able to understand, able to take it, consume this solution what we're going to build it. So specifically on GenAI side, it's very important that there's an executive commitment should be there. In terms of CXO level, there should be maybe the chief AI officer or CDOs, they should take the the baton in terms of having more GenAI related initiatives, right? That's something they can take it to the organizations. Primarily, the executive committee should be there, for the underlying employees, for the people within the organization is able to follow it. Then at the next level of employees, I think you really want to take it. I think conduct a bit of hackathons, give them business problems, or conduct a hackathon to really understand, what are the top business problems that our organizations have to pick it up to really solve through GenAI. These kind of different hackathons, ideathons can be conducted within the organizations. Therefore, the employees can be more enthusiastic and then be part of this particular event and be able to contribute towards it. As a common way of also, the third one is going to be, the learn by doing things. Today we talk about Chat GPT, we have it, and Gemini models by Google and various other applications are there, right? Today, we're talking about millions of people are using this application, talking about GenAI primarily because this particular application is really available, on the online, and then it has access to to all of us. Therefore, people are able to go back and access the application, ask play around with it, ask specific kind of questions, get some responses. They're able to play around with it, right? But if it comes to for the within the organizations, having a Chat GPT or the directly the Gemini based application might be at risk because of some parts of data should not be transferred to the organization, to the models, right? That's where many organizations, what we say, they have their own employee assistant or a chatbot within their organizations, but it's able to pick up the information from the internet and able to serve to the local employees. Okay, for example, the HR person really want to want to ask us questions about it. They want to generate job descriptions or they want to generate email content. The marketing department, they want to generate a caption message, right? So all these things, instead of they really want to access ChatGPT or the other applications, an internal chatbot can be given to the internal employees so that this application people can play around with it. Therefore, they're able to realize the benefits of what GenAI can give to them. And then the rest is more on the community of practices, having a center of excellence where this prompt practices or what are the set of initiatives GenAI can be pursued, the organization can pursue on using GenAI. What are the regulatory and compliances that the organization have to take into consideration? These are the central governance body team can be framed, who can take this kind of messages back to the employees. So primarily, for a GenAI initiative to function is very important. That should be a strong commitment from the executive should be there, and second thing is in terms of how we are percolating that knowledge back to the ground level employees at different stages of organizations. This something is more important, and here are the avenues, some parts of the ideas or ways how an organization can bring in this change management within their own enterprise in taking this GenAI initiatives to the ground level. The last one is on the integration challenges. What we typically talk about here is, many of the solutions as they conceptualize, they talk about things in isolations. Okay, they talk more just on the POC. So I have a business problem, right? I want to solve this. For example, I want to generate the, for example, thesis generation, right? When they talk about thesis generation, they just talk about, okay, fine, I have set of inputs, documents, I won't share it, but then I want to get the output. At the POC, they just talk about it. But when it goes to larger perspective, right? How we are going to take the solution to the entire organizations, right? For example, today you might fit in this out 4 or 5 files, you may want to fit into the models and then get the output. But when it comes to enterprise at scale, then this whole of this solution, right? The complete integration, this has to be integrated with the other systems, and then the lot of information data have to flow in a seamless fashion to the models, and you should be able to get the output, right? So the integration layer is going to play a very vital role. So the conceptualization of the use case, not only think about the use case and the return on investment, but in terms of how this particular use case can be integrated with the other systems, what kind of connectors or APIs integrations available so that the models, the application can integrate with other source systems. And the third thing is more on the, what models really want to take it up. Okay, today if we talk about many of the customers are moving away from the building their own bespoke based applications. they're going towards the product and cost application, like for example Salesforce or SAPs, or for example for ticket management they have various tools are there, and all these products are itself have their own generic capability. They're bringing it. Okay, so before venturing in terms of building a custom solutions, the recommendation is primarily look at what this product already able to give out of the box, and then in case we are not able to satisfy with the output, then go for the custom builds, custom solutions. The last one is more on the what kind of model you really want to choose. More or less, I think today, if you talk about, I think anyone who want to venture into Gen AI, I think it's going to be very important for them they are on the cloud, right? Be it, largely we talk about three hyperscalers: AWS, Azure, or GCP, Google Cloud, right? So the recommendation is, in fact, all of these hyperscalers have their own set of models. They have the partnership with various other third-party models, right? So if you are on one of the clouds, for example, I'm on Google Cloud, then Google itself have their models, LLM, Gemini models are there. Then probably try to leverage those models and then able to get the required build this whole of solutions. Because when you're going to build this Gen AI solution, not only the models but also this underlying set of native services, something cloud services have to get consumed. So for cost efficiency, the recommendation is primarily look at the models what is being provided by hyperscalers, more than go for the cross, from jumping from Azure to Google. The solution as such is possible, but the recommendation start with the the native models provided by the hyperscaler and then move on to other models. So largely, the point what we want to mention here is, don't just think about is how the solution have to coexist with the overall applications technology landscape what is available within the organizations. So those are the top challenges what we talked about. We talked about right from the identification of the use cases, then talk about the challenges in data, how we are going to mitigate them. We talk about the security and trust. Then we talked about the change management, how it is very important to take the solution back to the entire organizations, and the integration. These are at least the surface layer sort of pointers what the organizations have to look at as they want to pursue the solution, pick up the Gen AI use cases, and then start with the POCs. Having said that, for a successful, this is more from the CXOs, if they really want to get this, solution to a production-based use case, and look at how this, the Gen AI solution is going to have an overall impact across to their entire business models. Look at what specific business function is going to have an impact. Instill the confidence among the employees and to the consumers that the data is really going to be secure, and put in a strong governance framework. Therefore, the solutions, the organization is able to abide by the local regulatory and guidelines. And talent is going to be very important, because Gen AI is going to be is a very new technology, novel technology, right? So building up this knowledge and talent is going to be very important. A bit of cross-skill, upskilling is going to be required to build the technology gaps. And the partnership silence is going to be very important, like how the organization is going to partner with the startup companies who want the models, or the hyperscalers on the cloud, and the other models going to be very important in terms of getting a request set of guidance in terms of implementing these technical solutions, right? So here are some of the key things what the CXOs really can look at in terms of taking up use cases and then materializing to a state where it can be scaled to a production. So that's pretty much what we really want to cover. I mean, we started with the case of what is the leader's point of view, what is the how Gen AI being viewed within the market at a larger picture. Then we talked about what are the typical challenges being faced, in terms of taking Gen AI's POCs from POC to production, and what are the probable mitigations, something what industry experts thought about it, and something what we are experiencing in our own experience. So the key takeaway is, if you're really serious about using generative AI, think out of as a functionality is not not just towards the POCs, but I think the pathway to predictions. That real mindset really required, when we really want to take a, Gen AI initiatives from POCs to prediction. So that's pretty much, I think, the core topic, something what I want to cover. I just want to talk about, one of the key solutions what we have from TCS. We have a Wisdom Next platform, which is a model agnostic platform. What we have it, the primary key feature what it has is today many companies have different set of models, but this is a platform where you have the opportunities to really experiment different set of models what you might have it, or be it from what you might have from Google or OpenAI or Anthropic, different set of models based on use cases. You can be able to do a trial and error, and then choose the right model, and then something can be really give a right set of output for the specific use cases. There cannot be one model can suffice all use cases. So here is an avenue where based on the use case what you have, you can choose the model, and you can see what the cost benefits also can be evaluated between the models. I just want to play video, but I'm not sure how much time we have it. Can I play the video, sir?
Yes,
Mohan,
sir.
sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can play this.
Yeah. I'll stop and share it again. You're able to hear the audio?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Let me put it.
Navigating the world of Gen AI solutions can feel like searching for the perfect building block in a vast pile. Especially when AI models are constantly evolving and each model offers different capabilities. But what if there was a platform that effortlessly guided you to the exact piece you needed, saving both time and resources? Introducing TCS AI Wisdom Next, an industry-first platform that makes adopting Gen AI solutions easier.
TCS's Wisdom Next is an orchestration platform that helps customers explore all the possibilities that Gen AI and AI have to offer. Today's customers do not know where to begin and how to begin when it comes to adopting AI. Wisdom Next provides an excellent point of entry for them to embrace this exciting new technology.
Ready to deploy solution blueprints, software code assistance, built-in integration adapters for DevSecOps toolchains, intelligent evaluator bots to compare available Gen AI ecosystem.
Generative AI adoption is actually quite expensive. So Wisdom Next actually gives a choice to enterprises to select the right LLMs at an optimal cost and still deliver the results that they're actually looking for. We have implemented multiple pilots as well as a lot of production cases are there on Wisdom Next. Customers are loving it. 2-3 reasons they love it. One, it simplifies the adoption at scale. Second, the implementation within the guardrails and the power of cloud and AI in one platform.
From an outdoor advertising company and a leading insurance provider in the US to a leading bank in the UK, TCS AI Wisdom Next is helping businesses experiment with multiple Gen AI models. Find the right Gen AI services to build solutions. Rapidly adopt next-gen technologies. Accelerate path to production.
What is unique about Wisdom Next is that it comes with pre-configured industry blueprints. We have built a library of Gen AI solutions leveraging industry value chains and key personas, and this allows us to build composable archetypes leading to faster, scaled AI adoption.
Last year was all about a year of exuberance where people were trying to actually leverage the technology to solve a variety of problems within their enterprise. This year and beyond is likely to be actually try to start moving the use cases into production. And when you do that, you have to make sure that solutions are cost effective, efficient, responsible, and consistent. And that is exactly what TCS is actually working with our customers to do.
Unlock the full potential of AI with TCS AI Wisdom Next, an innovative platform that brings together the power of AI and cloud to help businesses reimagine their future.
Thank you very much for coming. My name is Perry Wald. This is my colleague.
Okay. Right. That's pretty much what I have. I guess we already kind of, I think, bit of overshoot of the time.
No, it's fine, sir.
I think only one thing I want to talk about is, I guess, based on there was a one set of questions, what I've seen it, I think, there's some few of the participants have asked how really want to go about in terms of learning GenAI. This probably my last slide. Here's my recommendations. First one is at least learn one programming language. Most of the AI and ML based solutions, GenAI is being built. The orchestrator is being built using the Python language. So I learned this one particular programming language. And all the solutions have to be deployed. More or less what we see is any of the hyperscalers. So have one at least cloud knowledge, be it AWS, Azure, or GCP. Knowing one thing is good enough because more of the names change, but otherwise the purpose of all the services remains the same. There are a lot of digital platforms out there where this GenAI is being taught. There are events being organized by IITs. There is a recent event organized by IIT Kharagpur, 3 months of event on teaching GenAI. There is a Coursera platform there, Udemy there. Enrolled some of the courses, something what might be able to do it. Specifically on the topic wise, we talk about GenAI. These are some of the specifics what you might want to learn here. General things on GenAI. LangChain framework is something grossly being utilized in building our solutions. So learn this LangChain framework. Prompt engineering is going to be important because this is going to play a very important role in terms of how we are going to fine tune the outputs to the expectation what you really need. This is very, very important. And RAG, retrieval augmented generation, because when you're going to build solutions for the organization enterprise, pretty much the RAG is coming to play. There's a vector. This will come with associated vector database, all this stuff. So these are some of the key topics within generative AI courses, something you have to learn. And more importantly, what always really required is keep yourself, in the networking channel. A lot of things, a lot of innovations, innovations comes into, and being posted on the, the social media platform. So, it's very important to get yourself up to date on the various innovations or the new innovations coming within the models or the AI companies, what they've been launching is very important to get to know what is being newly launched. And to get to know that is very important. We being part of this, networking platforms like LinkedIn or the Medium platform, Analytic India Magazine, various platforms are there. So try to be in some of these social media platforms. But otherwise, technical aspects, the first for something what I mentioned is something required for someone, to get into the, start coding some parts of the GenAI-based solutions. So that's pretty much what I have, Mr. Mohan and sir and others. I'm happy to pick up questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the very inspiring session. We have some few questions from the time of registration. So I'm just raising some of them. The first question from a student named Janani. What are the key challenges in transitioning generative AI models from proof of concept to full-scale production, and how can they be addressed?
I guess that's the whole of the topic, what we talked about it, right? I think this discussion is predominantly, as explained, right? right from the use case identifications, data dependencies, security aspects, right? Right from the point you have to think like, when I want to, but think of a specific use cases, right? The aspects what I pretty much covered, in the whole of the slides. I think the question is more towards like, the whole of the presentation what we're talking about today. So the top 5 challenges what I mentioned is something those has to be looked at it. And if you're able to mitigate those challenges, what I mentioned, I think we should be able to at least put some of the solutions back into production.
Thank you, sir. Next question. How do you monitor and maintain the performance of generative AI models in production, especially to handle issues like model drift over time?
Yeah, it's a very good question, right? So there are various metrics available, KPIs are available. Okay, at least from Google standpoint, I can say that there are metrics like Rouge, Blue, rubrics. Some of the metrics what is being provided by Google to evaluate the metrics. What also can be done is there are few other things like True Era there, which basically another LLM able to take the output of the other LLMs, validate against the ground truth, and then able to provide a score, a confidence score, something what we talked about it. It able to give a score out of a scale of either 1 to 10 or it between 0 to 1. 0.8, 0.9. So that's the level of scoring mechanism can be arrived at through which you can really evaluate the quality output. That's primarily on the quality of the output. But the other aspect is on the model drift. It's on the 2 aspects. That's something briefly touched upon in our conversation. How we are really able to, manage the ongoing data changes, which you also call as a data drift. That based on this data, what you're going to have, a bit of fine tuning would be required on the prompts what we've been coded as part of this particular Gen AI orchestra what we built. To that we should be able to attain it. One is from the verification point of view, leverage the existing models or the KPIs what I mentioned it, and then having a clear MLOps life cycle in place so that the drift and the model finding can be taken to considerations. That way we can address it to an extent.
Thank you, sir. Next question. How do prepare Indian higher education, the students in AI?
Definitely, I think a lot of keep ourselves aware on this. A lot of the the advancements happening in AI. Start learning. I've prescribed some of the courses. Something what someone have to learn the Gen AI skills, but otherwise. It's more on the awareness of the inventions coming within the from the various platforms, various organizations. Giving a lot of, for example, Google side there is a DeepMind, there's organizations there, and similarly OpenAI. A lot of innovations are coming in. So keep ourselves aware on the social media platform to get to know the advancements are coming up in the AI side. Plus. The higher education side, definitely, the education institutions should start looking at adopting some of the course curriculum, this Python and AI as part of the course curriculum, which I guess many of the education institutions are currently doing it, right? In terms of taking this to their, to the students within the institutions. To an extent, I guess it's largely being done, but keeping ourselves aware on the latest advancements is going to be very important to keep ourselves abreast with respect to new innovations.
Yes, sir. I surely accept your answer. Thank you, sir. How do we ensure that the generative AI system operates securely, particularly when dealing with sensitive data?
Yep, I think to an extent we addressed through in our presentation. Primarily, there are various avenues. One is we have to implement the the secure information what we have it, redact or mask the information, sensitive information, what what is being passed on to the LLM. The organization should lay some of the guidelines what data has to be fed in back to the LLM, right? One is screening of the informations or any of the enterprise specific information that should not be passed on, or what the model is going to give the output, that also can be, can be screened to ensure that no harmful content is directly being sent back to the, as more of a response. So these are set of the security attributes and the guardrails that we can implement at the model level, and the additional security at the organization level, like what I talked about in terms of ensuring the in the infrastructure level security, so the firewalls, those things can be taken into considerations so that the data privacy is able to made the local regulatory guidelines and then does not breach the organization policy. Something should be able to do that.
Thank you, sir. One last question. How can we design and deploy scalable generative AI models that integrate tribal farmers' traditional knowledge with modern agricultural practice?
Very interesting question. So, see, when it comes to Gen AI, I think more or less, I think we should look at, the core capability of Gen AI. The core capability of Gen AI is about able to assimilate a lot of unstructured information, which could be in any form, be it in the form of text-based, or it could be in the form of image-based or videos. Something could be there, right? And it has the ability to consume large volume of data. So one way of looking at for farmers is like you want to predict the seasonal weather, right? When to cultivate, what kind of crops, right? The seasonal behavior. What we can do is definitely, I think that the historical weather information can be fed into the model, and then we can have a forecast of like how the weather is going to be there for the next year or so, and what kind of, so that's one of the use case what we can really look at. We can aid the farmers. Secondly, what kind of particular crop or things can be cultivated in this particular season. So that's something we can definitely be able to help directly to the farmers. The other way also look at it is in terms of the consumers, right? Right from there is a lot of farmers have made a produce, right? It's being consumed by the government and the other various private sectors, right? From the private sector's point of view, they can look at leveraging Gen AI in terms of based on the stock, what is the inventory is available, what is the kind of consumption really required, right? What is the additional amount of quantity required for the upcoming years? That predictions also, the business function can be able to really do that, and therefore this particular information can be passed on back to the farmers so that they can make the produce accordingly, so that the wastage is something can be reduced. So it's more of a both from the farmer side and the organization side and the government side. This Gen AI can aid in terms of the overall supply chain, in terms of right from the produce and from the sale, the entire life cycle can be managed. There are different, at least 4 or 5 use cases, innovations we can really look at, how the Gen AI can play a role there. And largely, like today, if you talk about many of the people, I think the smartphones has been a very, everyone started using the smartphone, right? So a lot of information, the access to the internet, the public information is very available. Like you probably can even build up an applications on all these things what you're talking about, and the information can flow seamlessly between this supplier from the farmers back to this organizations, and then this whole of this, the information can be transferred very smoothly, and then and handy. Any kind of question, something in the form, something you want to ask, they can be able to have the chatbot, something we can enable to them in their local language. What I said, some of the models are there, SLMs, right? In their local language, they'll be able to chat and get the respective information. So that's the power of technology, what we're really talking about, and definitely should be able to help, aid this, the farmers and the other country ecosystem. While, yes, these are all something you're talking theory, but I think it's going to be very much useful if something we're able to see something in real time. But very interesting question.
Thank you for that wonderful Q&A session, sir. Sir, can we move on to the formal vote of thanks, or you have any questions, sir?
No, Dr. Akila, Mohan sir, would you like to have some words before I go for?
Fine. I think it was a very excellent and elaborate presentation. So,
shall I go for vote of thanks, sir? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our chair, Dr. K. Komathy, CSI Chennai chapter chair to propose the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, all. I thank the organizing units IEEE CS Madras, CSI Chennai, ACM Chennai, and HCC for jointly arranging this webinar today with a discussion on generative AI from POC to production. Our heartfelt thanks goes to Mr. Vaithialingam for his excellent presentation on scaling generative AI from proof of concept to production. The speaker started with a few of the Gen AI use cases such as Q&A based research, summarization, content generation, content transformation, virtual agent, and code generation. He enlisted the top Gen AI organizations such as OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Servam, etc. He brought forward the market trend of Gen AI as by 2027, 50% of the models would transform industry specific. By 2026, 75% of the enterprises would use Gen AI to create synthetic customer data. By 2028, 30% of Gen AI implementation would be optimized for energy consumption. He discussed broadly the challenges faced while Gen AI moves from POC to production. Example, identification of right use cases for the right investment, data dependency to achieve qualitative output, and he also listed the solutions to data management problem powered by Gen AI, security and risks such as hallucination, cybersecurity, data privacy, deepfakes, copyright issues, and also he brought out the mitigation strategies. And finally, he highlighted the organization change management, OCM, from executives to the low-level employees. Under integration challenges and mitigation, he pointed out that the challenges while models aligning to CSP towards Gen AI POC to silos. Integration, technical feasibility towards integration with the SPOTS products. He highlighted key tenets for a successful Gen AI adoption. He finished his presentation with the illustration of TCS Wisdom Next AI platform for enterprises. I thank once again Mr. Vaithialingam for clarifying the question raised by the participants offline and online as well. I sincerely thank our mentor, Mr. H.R. Mohan, Chair Events, IEEE CS Madras, who arranged this webinar for the benefit of the members. I'm thankful to the participants who joined in live Google Meet and also YouTube live streaming. I thank the event team members from the organizing units for their support in arranging this event. With these warm words, we move to the end of today's event. Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaidhi, for a
Thank you.
wonderful presentation. It was I think
Thank you.
eye opener for many of the corporate people, who think of developing some program and then, they get stuck up. Basically, just the problem is that they don't know how to proceed. Some of the reasons, even because it's very difficult to come out with a business model, or
Right.
any project. So financial viability is difficult. The only thing is trial and unfortunately in India, many of the people, if any program fails, it is regarded as something wrong with the people.